Hey there, Forest Lake. Today for our Bible study, I wanted to talk a little bit more about prayer. This past Sunday, at our church we talked about Colossians chapter 4, verse 2, and it's a very simple verse. You wouldn't see this hanging up in anyone's house. Like those Bible verse artwork pieces. This wouldn't be on there. It simply says this, though. It says, "Devote yourselves to prayer." Very simple, very straightforward. The Apostle Paul is telling the Christians in Colossae to pray, to devote themselves to it. Now, what I think sometimes we don't remember, or we can easily misunderstand, is that prayer is something that not only is it difficult, but it just doesn't really come naturally. And therefore, prayer is something that we have to train ourselves to do. We have to, like Paul says, devote ourselves to prayer. I remember a while ago I was listening to a man teach about writing. I've always enjoyed writing, but I'm not I like creative type writing. I like to pursue that type of stuff. And the thing about writing is there's a lot of information out there about how to become a good writer. I've read several books. I enjoy finding those cool little quotes that people post on Facebook about writing. And at this particular lecture I was at, the speaker was sharing about how to become a good writer. And he basically said, and I think this was a quote from somewhere else, he said, essentially, if you want to be a good writer, you have to write. And it's a very simple thing he said, but it made a lot of sense to me, because I think you could spend a lot of time, or at least someone like me, I can spend a lot of time researching and learning and doing all this stuff without actually doing the thing that I want to be doing. I think that's, in a way, I think that's similar to prayer. Actually, I know that's true with prayer because I've read a ton of books on prayer. And I would have to say that some of the books are helpful, but the most helpful thing and the best thing is to pray. You're never going to read a book and then automatically become a great prayer. You might get some good tips, you might be encouraged, but that's about it. You can keep researching and learning about prayer until the day you die. There's an abundance, an overabundance of books and lectures and sermons and hearing people teach. But if you're not actually praying, you're not going to grow in prayer. I think it's as simple as that. To be a prayer, you have to pray. There's no quote that you will hear that automatically will make you a great prayer. I've tried. It just doesn't really work. Jesus instructs us in prayer. He says in Matthew 6, verse 6, he says, "When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." So he instructs us to find a place of seclusion so that we could talk to our Heavenly Father. And that's simply what prayer is. It's speaking to our Heavenly Father. And you will learn as you start to pray, as you devote yourself to prayer, that you will want to pray more. The more you pray, the more you will want to pray. The more you pray, the more you realize your need to pray. And this next week, we're going to talk about how prayer really is one of the main ways God renews our mind. It's like taking our carnal thinking, our flesh-focused thinking, and turning it into kingdom thinking. That's what prayer is, because it's a constant interaction between us and God. Now, I don't want to make it sound as though prayer is only good prayer is good only if you pray a vast amount of time. And that's not necessarily true. But I do think you need to commit to some time every day to prayer. And then as you go about your day, you will begin to see that you will you're just naturally, you're going to start talking to God. You're going to talk to God about all sorts of things, all manners of things, struggles that you have, relationship issues. People, I drove by a car accident on the way to work today. It's late January in northern Minnesota, and I saw a car accident, and there was just something that was tugging on me. I didn't see the actual accident. I drove by after it occurred, but I was just praying out loud for these two cars. It looked a little iffy. I certainly pray that they are doing okay. But you'll learn as you pray, you will pray more. And I think it's just a natural outworking of growing in the Spirit. It's a natural outworking of maturity as you grow in your faith with Jesus Christ. But so remember to start prayer, to begin, to continue in it. I think the best prayers, and I've read a lot of books on prayer. I've read probably 20 books in my lifetime on prayer. And you could tell the difference when you read these books. You could tell the difference between those people who are good writers, who might have some interesting things to say about prayer, and those writers who are actually prayers. The writers who have spent decades on their knees, crying out to God, speaking to God on all manners of topics and people and issues. And that's the kind of guy I want to be. I don't need to be famous. I want to be someone who knows his Heavenly Father, and I pray that that's something that you would like as well. So that's all I have today. If you want to be a prayer, go out and pray. With that, have a wonderful day.